Welcome to One Thing I Learned podcast. I am your host, Kiara Staley. If you've seen me on social media, then you would know me and this black robe, we go way back. She is my bestie. So I started this podcast technically as a TikTok series. However, the TikTok babies enjoyed me talking about men more. And I made this I made this specifically to talk about life. However, whatever TikTok wants, they get. So I've pivoted from going to talk about life on TikTok to now I said, fuck it, let me talk about life on YouTube. And as you can tell from the title, we do things scared over here. So the purpose of do it scared, I know that's been like a trending term for quite some time now. I don't mind trends, it just depends on what the trend is about. Now, do it scared is very motivational. One thing about me, I love to give advice, I love to be a voice of reason, and I love to talk. So, if you enjoy those things, we're friends now, and I'm a great friend to have. I like to do things scared these days in my wee age of 32 years old. I am grateful to also have a very late birthday. So, having a birthday in December specifically means that I have the full entire year to be my age until I am blessed enough to get into the new age. So, within that, it already being August and 8 months into me being 32, I have learned a lot of shit. But this is not about the year of 32. This podcast is going to be about the 32 years. I have been around this earthly block for about 3 decades now. So we have a lot to unfold on this podcast. As a content creator, I feel like eventually you tap into this podcast world. It's just a matter of how and why. And once I was able to come to terms with a purpose, then that's when I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So that's why we're here, kids. And I specifically started with this robe because, oh, I guess backstory, let's go. So last year, this time, or so July of last year, actually, I became unemployed from my part time job. And with that being said, I could have immediately applied to social media management roles, shit, even retail if I needed to, right? However, I am blessed and fortunate enough to have always been a creative. Once social media popped off, after MySpace, I guess you can say, I tapped into this somehow, some way. I was just always a skincare girly. If you followed me on any social media platforms, my platforms are Staley Insight. So you may or may not recognize me. If you don't, that is totally okay because I am not Beyonce. So fast forwarding to July of last year, once I got unemployed, and as I'm sitting at home thinking, hey, God, was this your cue for me to just tap into this entrepreneurial life and just say, fuck it, let's do it scared? And he was like, yup. And I was like, cool. So this is why we're here. I have been creating the dopest content I could have ever made in my life within this past year, all because I did it scared. I have never not had a job. I have been actively working since New York City can provide you with working papers at the age of 14. Once I got unemployed, I had to really tap into the big guy upstairs because without faith, you can't be unstoppable. Without faith, you can't do it scared because you have no choice but to you have no choice but to learn yourself in this process. As you can see, my hair is currently looking like Coolio. May he rest in peace. But I never had my hair this short. The shortest my hair has ever been was in a bob. So due to me stupidly perming my hair about 2 years ago, I decided to just chop all of it off. I never had my hair this short. I've never gone this long without a job. None of the above. But one thing about me, if there's a will, there is a way. And one thing about God, he gonna make a way with, with no way, okay? Come October, I'm sitting in this robe and Victoria's Secret fashion show comes on. I'm watching, I'm excited. We already know that's like a female's version of like the fucking Super Bowl. We can't get enough of seeing those bitches in their bra and panties and these big ass wings, right? So I'm watching and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? I was in utter shock. I have never been that gobsmacked. My smack was gobbed at the fact of how that show, it was like y'all were better off just keeping it. If you have to do it scared that way, don't do it at all. Just kidding, but not really. I decided to get on TikTok. Now I've gone viral on TikTok before. 2 million views, 1 million something views. That was based off of Met Gala and me filming fashion police videos. Baby, I filmed in this robe and this bonnet. And 12 million views later, I said, yeah, do it scared. Because when you think of content creation, and I blame this on Instagram, you think of you have to be beautified. You can't even be barefaced. A bitch gotta have on some sort of lash, at least mascara. Your edges has to be done. All the above. They would never go onto social media looking like Coolio. They would never go onto social media in a robe and a bonnet and just pop shit and then just post it, right? But that is me. That is who I am. Before I pressed record, I ripped my scarf and my bonnet off and I put in these two little pigtails because that's just all my hair can really do at this point. My hair can't even make a full bun, bitch. So yeah, I have bigger fish to fry over here instead of worrying about what someone else perceives me as or how I may look, right? So 12 million views later, it showed me that no one gave a fuck about what I looked like. They gave a fuck about what I had to say. We already know it's not that easy to go viral and it's not that easy to maintain the viralness. And I've been blessed enough to go viral a couple of more times after that. So baby girl, my black bear. That's what I call her, black bear. Black bear is ka-ching, ka-ching, bling, bling, bling. So yeah, I did it scared. I did it afraid. I did it uncomfortably. I did it without knowing a best post time or any of the above. And I didn't put my social media manager hat on when I did that. I did it as a fan of the Victoria's Secret fashion show that was utterly disappointed in the execution. That is it, and that is all. So, do it scared is easier said than done because you really have to find the balls, aka courage, in order to step outside. Now, when you hear step outside of your comfort zone or anything like that, that is true. But when I say step outside, that just means to just step outside. Step outside of your comfort zone. Step outside of the outer body experience. Step outside of the fact of this is not your norm, but maybe it could be your norm, but you have no idea if it's your norm or not because you never stepped outside. Yeah, uh-huh, uh-huh. So you wouldn't know if you like this if you never attempt to even try. So, and I'm the type of person I give things about 3 times before I'm like, fuck this. I also noticed that I'm not on this journey for no reason. I'm on this journey because if I always foreseen myself being an entrepreneur, then I have to, I can't work for other people if I have to start working on myself. Because how am I going to be an entrepreneur if I don't work for myself? That just doesn't make sense. How am I going to be an entrepreneur if I don't step into these venues, if I don't step into these possibilities, if I don't step into these opportunities? So, you doing it scared is also stepping. You're stepping away from what you once knew and you're stepping into the unknown. And I, quite frankly, could not do that without faith. Now, this isn't to turn into a whole spiritual biblical moment. This is just specifically just to say faith comes with whether you believe in God, the universe, your ancestors, the spirit guides, whomever, but you also have to have the faith in yourself first. You could tap into them and ask them and guide you or what have you, but you have to have faith in yourself. And within this year, the do it scared year, as I would call it, because my anniversary has passed already since we're already in August. But within this do it scared year, I did a lot of things scared. I attempt content that I would have never attempted before. I processed things the way I would have never processed it before, meaning I am a recovering spazzer. I know society uses the term crash out. I will spaz the fuck out. I give it more time before I do so now. I breathe first. When the people say count to 10, I give you about till 25. So that's a lot of time before I have to spaz on you, right? Uh I I stepped outside of what I was used to in totality. So I was used to having the long silk press, wash and set, blowout, whatever we call it. I was used to that. I'm not used to wearing mini braids. I'm not used to seeing my hair curly. And that's where it started for me. So I know a lot of people that have followed me are probably going to watch this and be like, damn, because I probably come off so fucking confident online and in person, where it's like, little do y'all know, I'm not insecure. I don't even like that word. I I was a self-doubter. I will say that. I am a recovering self-doubter. I doubted a lot in my life and I doubted a lot of things just because I am a recovering perfectionist. And that is a day-to-day thing. That is the hardest part, if I'm to be very honest with you. So to do it scared also requires you to let it go, release it, rebuke it, surrender it to somebody, write it down on a piece of paper and burn it, throw it in the river, whatever you got to do, because you have to have faith in yourself. You have to be okay with being afraid. You have to be uncomfortable, because if you're that comfortable, then that means that it's you're going to be stagnant. With the TikTok ban and it going away for like 10 hours or whatever the fuck that was, it already showed how many people lives were going to be ruined and devastated from this. Meanwhile, I was just like, Jesus, take the wheel. What else? And that even showed me like, okay, you're not tapping into your entrepreneurial duties the way you should have. So as an entrepreneur, what do you want to do? As a beginner, how do you learn these things? And by we have probably some of the best technology ever. And I don't even mean with AI, but I'm just saying like our parents and our grandparents weren't as blessed as we are. I try to take in as much of this as I can because this shit is not a game. When it comes to the internet, when it comes to technology, when it comes to resources, like back in the days, all they had was a library. If that, once upon a time. I wanted to be a social media manager so bad because I swore that I was going to be like Lauren Conrad and them from the hills, where I was going to be able to like go to these events, film this stuff for these people, be creative, just, kind of be like behind the scenes. I never wanted to be the face. So then I said, bitch, you got to show your face first in order to get behind the camera later, unless you just want to pick a completely different field. And that's when I was like, I did that scared. I applied to jobs and I took what I was doing for myself as a content creator. So, like my Instagram post and the skincare affiliations I was getting and the collaboration deals I was getting. And I used that as my resume to apply to social media manager jobs. And that's how I got in. And once I started actively, like doing the real social media manager work, like posting, captions, whatever. I took that job and then of course I would hike it up to the top because that was the real social media manager job I've ever had. Everything else was always my own work And then I was applying to internships. And then I was applying to like people like just reaching out to me on Instagram. And I'm like, yeah, 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 like come in. So I had about like 3 or 4 different people on top of the 9 to 5 I was working at the time. So I truly love creating content to the point that I was doing it for 4 other people, including myself at one time. So I did it scared, is the moral. I didn't think that I was really going to get that social media manager job, the first one I ever got. I didn't think that because I was like, bitch, you don't have no credentials. And they still hired me. And I still had to show up. And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But I did it scared. Instead of me sitting around being like, damn, I could have gotten on YouTube in 2013, or I could have been posting on Tumblr, or shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't believe in shoulda, coulda, wouldas because it's obviously my time now. I'm doing it and I'm going to kill it. It doesn't matter how old I am. It doesn't matter what I think I missed out on. Just do it. With you watching this, doing it scared is easy. It's not hard at all. You just have to take the step, take the leap, have faith in yourself, love yourself, work on yourself within that process because you can't just step out of your comfort zone and think that you're still going to be that same person. Work on yourself, think long and hard about what you want to do. When you think long and hard, try it out and try it out a couple of times just as a tester to make sure that that's something that you actually really want to do, and then you execute. Don't be afraid to write things down. Don't be like me and not talk to anybody. I mean, when in doubt, you can always talk to yourself because you are still somebody. But I highly suggest finding people in your field, in your careers, in your niche, because a food reviewer is not going to know anything that I'm going through as a everything creator. I literally create everything. So I don't even consider myself a lifestyle at this point. That's why I just say entrepreneur because I'm on TikTok. I make skincare videos. I even started making motivational videos. I'm making this podcast right here. I'm connecting with people online and I'm being like their videographer and shit. Like I'm out here. I'm in the field. I'm in it. In it. Yeah, I'm really in here. Because what else do I have to do? I don't have to go to work. This is my job. I don't have to go to work for someone else. So, how am I supposed to make the money if I don't clock in? You feel me? I can't remember what days I said that I was going to be posting. I think I put Thursdays. I don't know. You guys will see it in the banner or whatever in my description and shit. I'm not going to make another Instagram page for this podcast. I'm not. Any trailers or anything or any clips or anything you guys will see on my regular socials, whether it's Staley Insight on Instagram or Staley Insight on TikTok. I'm literally Staley Insight everywhere on Twitter. I write Medium articles as well. The girl is just out there. You should see Staley Insight practically everywhere by the time I want y'all to be sick of me. I can't even say prepare to be sick of me. I want you to be sick of me. Sick of me to the point that you like this bitch again? Yeah, this bitch again. Because I'm in it. I thank you guys. If you want to subscribe to keep up with more of my antics, please do so. I would like for you to. I would like for you to comment as well and just let's chat about life. Uh, or one thing that you've learned about doing things scared. I'm a very conversational person. I don't leave people on red unless it's well deserved. And I would like for you to leave a like as well if you actually like this video. My outros are always going to be awkward because I'm so used to being like bye, but I give you guys a different vibe. You're getting the authentic dead ass me, like we're talking like we're on FaceTime right now. That this is how I treat my friends and my family and my parents and everybody. Like this is me. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for listening to my ramble. Me and Black Bear, we're checking out. TTYL for now.